Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let Me Ask You This. I'm your host, Scott J. Carroll, and today I am joined by our panel again.
Hi!
Howdy.
So on my right, we have Tom and Christy, and on my left, we have Claire and Angel.
You're on the wrong side.
Winners.
Hey!
Well, that would be the sinister side, at least for me.
Works for me.
Pirate.
I have once again, for our panel up here, consulted the mythical and epic Tome of Knowledge. This book contains facts and figures from all around the world and history, and every week I like to pull out just a few questions to torture my friends with, ask my friends about. So, no touching the tome! Minus 10 for that side. You put a print on the tome? Already minus points. Wow. No sanctity for the Tome of Knowledge.
Nope.
I didn't touch it. That means I get 25 extra points.
If it hasn't been consecrated by at least 2 PhDs, it's not actually sacred.
I do have at least one PhD working with me on it. So there. All right.
She gets 25, I get 50.
You can't allot yourself points. That's not how this works. There is a judge back there.
I didn't
The judge.
want it.
The judge is the one who will decide who gets what points. We're already off the rails. This is great.
Okay, so what about that
It's
question?
all your fault.
It is. Let's get started. Let's get started with the first question. This first round is going to be about some. We're going to start off with some facts about figures.
Oh, I love figures.
Yes. So.
Depends on whose it is.
I think mine is okay, but, you know.
So, who can tell me about Harry Burt's and his Jolly Boy Sucker?
Well,
Was that
my mama
father?
always told me, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Which is a fair and valid.
Especially about a boy's sucker.
So, Harry Burt's and his Jolly Boy Sucker. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to 1920.
It's not very far.
That's why I said a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you were there.
I'll admit to it, but
So, think about the 1920s, think about vernacular of the time. What would a sucker be?
a patsy. Putz.
Doesn't narrow it down here.
Yes, closer. So you're getting closer to something like a lollipop. But what's a different kind of candy, or a different kind of treat that would make a boy jolly?
Jolly Roger?
That's a flag.
It's like for candy brand.
That's
It is.
Oh,
Yes.
that's, you're true.
Yes,
Yes,
it
it is.
is.
You have jawbreakers.
I was about to say like a jawbreaker or like a Jolly Rancher, like a sucking kind of candy.
Almost like a sucking. What's a colder sucking kind of candy?
Not like a pop, like
Popsicle.
not a popsicle. Yeah.
Not a popsicle.
Just
but
like a little ice.
what's right next to a popsicle on the line?
Sandwich?
Ice cream stick.
Stick. Okay.
Jolly Boy Sucker was the first ice cream stick. Harry Burt's was a candy maker, and around the turn of the century, he was trying to find a way to get more money from kids. So he was the first person to put ice cream on a stick.
About how long was his Jolly Boy Sucker?
Well, when it was cold, it was shorter. But he
So
was
things happen.
he was the first person to basically invent what became the ice cream popsicle or the ice pop. Popsicles themselves were a mistake. There was a young man who had some soda, he had a sugary drink, and he had poured it out and he left it overnight on a particularly cold night, and it froze.
Right.
And the next morning he went out there and he, being a little boy, he went, "What's this?" Tasty.
It's amazing.
And inadvertently invented the popsicle. So,
Now, did Burt's have any relationships that were dentists?
oh,
That's a racket right there.
I'm
it
telling you.
is. It is, and you're bringing that up because
Because there was actually a shop, an ice cream shop in Connecticut, Milton, that was owned and run by the dentist next door.
you might be onto something because a dentist also invented the first candy floss machine.
Yes, he did.
Every floss, yeah.
Or the cotton candy machine because my
Yeah.
brain just decided to
That's okay.
stop working for a second.
The tooth annihilator.
You get used to it after a while.
So, from one kind of snack moving over to a drink,
Oh yes.
what mistake revolutionized the tea industry?
The Boston Tea Party?
That wasn't a mistake, that was freedom.
The English,
The English, well,
The mistake was the English had that ship there.
we're past the Tea Party.
Are we talking about the Asian teas that or are we going about,
No, we're talking about English teas.
okay, English
Okay.
teas in general?
somebody dropping ice in tea?
No, that was a
That was disgusting.
once they added sugar, it was amazing.
I'm English.
It says a lot. But,
It's all sad leaf water to me.
So we're back to turn of the century again.
Right.
We're in about 1908. How was tea mainly made?
Well, it was seeped, right? Well, dried
Yeah.
leaves,
Mhm.
they'd be into the bags, but before that, they would seep it, and then,
straight to the pot.
right,
Yeah.
straight into the pot,
Mhm.
and then pour
Well,
it from.
You kind of said it.
Yeah, so putting the packets into, or the,
Making tea bags.
yeah, tea bags.
Tea bags, exactly, tea bags. Tea bags were a mistake. So there was a man named Thomas Sullivan, and in 1908 he was working and he was trying to sell more tea. So he sent out a whole bunch of samples of tea in little silk sachets to people. People got that and they thought, oh, I must make the tea in the sachet, I guess?
Which is honestly sort of brilliant.
Yeah.
Like,
And it very, very quickly caught on, and people were asking for more of these tea bags. Silk, of course, was way too expensive
Oh, yeah.
to manufacture a lot of it, and he tried a bunch of different things, paper, muslin, and he eventually, mainly at the time, settled on the same thing that stockings and hosiery were made of.
Yeah.
Right,
And then eventually it turned into what we have today.
right.
So, through a form of a mistake, we now have tea that we know it today.
So originally, when he was doing this, you could make paper mache and have tea at the same time.
I mean, you still
That would be
can if you want to.
Yeah, but that would be disgusting, like in the same cup.
Mm.
Well, you have
It just-
two cups.
it just goes to show you, some drinks end in mistakes, and some mistakes end in drinks.
So, Tuesday at the bar.
Yep.
All right.
What do you mean just Tuesday?
So we went to drinks. We went to what people were doing. Let's go back to another person in history.
Oh, wonderful.
Some
So
dude.
this question is going to be a two-parter. It's a
Oh.
rare two-parter that we're having. I know. It's shocking.
It's got a sequel.
It will. So part one of the question. American folk hero John Chapman is better known by what name?
Charlie Chaplin, of course. No, of course not.
Oh, Johnny Chaps.
Wow, you just did my job for me. Here's the answer. No, it's not.
Couldn't possibly be Johnny Appleseed.
It could possibly be Johnny
I thought
Appleseed. John Chapman, better known
Makes
as
sense.
Johnny Appleseed. We all know, we've all had the day at school where we hear the legend of
Mhm.
Johnny Appleseed going around the country planting apple seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So my question now is, what were the apples he planted intended for?
Johnny invasive species.
I thought at one time I was
We'll get to
told
that.
about trees, like it was actually about conservation or some kind of environmental thing, is what I recall.
Well, if you have very
You just
rare
liked him
seeds,
an apple.
keeping those propagating is one thing, but
Yeah.
apples are for eating, for making cider, for making hard cider, and
Most
for
importantly.
feed.
Right.
So in that list, you said the answer.
I know.
One of those
I
things
thought.
you said is correct.
Then you've also got the apple wood to make furniture.
Not for livestock, not for feed.
No, it's just for the hard
Eat them,
cider.
you have cider.
For the hard cider.
It's for the hard cider.
So the particular type of apple that Johnny Appleseed planted was called Algeo. And these apples are really small, really bitter. They're not intended for eating. They were intended for making hard cider.
They didn't teach us that in school.
Of course
No.
not.
The other thing they didn't teach you is you were really onto something. So you get some bonus points on this, Claire, when you said he was an invasive species.
I get a whole half a point.
Chapman was planting trees as a land grab. At that
Typical.
point in time, if you could prove that you were cultivating the land,
Yes.
then you were owning it.
Typical Caucasian.
I knew it was something environment, like regarding the land masses and all. I couldn't remember the storyline.
Oh, it was conservation of his finances.
Exactly.
Chapman became, at the time, one of the biggest land barons once all of his trees were producing,
He was the Bezos of hard cider.
until Prohibition. Once Prohibition hit, the FBI went around, and any of his trees that were surviving, he had died at this point, were cut down. There is only currently one surviving tree today that they
Oh, wow.
found a couple years ago. And they're trying to re-get those apples coming up.
This is way more entertaining than any Johnny Appleseed story I've ever heard. Why
Right?
is this not what I'm hearing about?
Because he was a mean land baron who was making booze. You don't get to learn about that in school.
You wait until high school where you really learn about the American way.
You gotta love tort law, man.
Well, speaking of historical figures and the American way, which historical U.S. figure shouted, "The British are coming"?
Oh dear, is this going to be a
Sure.
trick question?
This feels like a trick question.
I don't know. Is it a trick question?
Well, here's the thing.
Allegedly,
Actually,
Paul Revere.
yeah, I was going to say,
That's
it
really
really
allegedly.
did. There's really no hard proof that Paul Revere really shouted out as he was writing from what Wadsworth said in his poem that the British are coming, the British are coming. Literally, that's not exactly how it happened.
No,
In fact, it would
Paul-
probably be a bad strategic decision, but I don't know.
So, both of you guys are right. Both sides have valid points in this. So, at the time, everybody was still considered British citizens. So,
Mhm.
had Revere done the ride, he would have shouted, "The Redcoats are coming."
Yeah.
He would have shouted, "The British are coming."
Exactly.
But there's another twist to it.
It wasn't. It was another soldier. Then
It was his raiders. It was Paul Revere and his raiders. So,
So, yeah,
Where
you,
was the Lost Ark?
so Revere himself only did a very short ride, and then he got caught.
Yep.
There was a man named William Dawes.
yes.
William Dawes wrote further than Revere. He warned more people than Revere. Dawes was able to get away with it because he was a traitor at the time, and all of the soldiers at the British checkpoints recognized him and knew him as a traitor, not a traitor, and they saw him and they just waved him through.
Mhm.
So he was running around going, "Get ready, get ready, get ready, fellas, get ready, get ready." So he did more for the ride than Revere did. Revere got caught, but because he was more well known, because he was more famous at the time, that's why we talk about the ride of Paul Revere.
And this, kids, is what's
Yes.
called failing upwards.
Yeah, Dawes became a footnote in history, and most people
And it's
never even
sad.
heard of him. Yeah, and he did way more for it.
He did.
It's Balto Togo all over again.
Yeah.
We can get into that in another episode. But believe it or not, guys, that's round one.
oh my goodness.
We have sped through round one already. Which brings us to round two. Round two is our bluff round.
Uh-oh.
Before the show, I gave everybody here a card with a question on it. You can take your cards out now. Each of the questions had the actual answer. You okay there?
Yep.
You alright?
Should be all right.
Okay. Each of the
What happened when I
cards.
buried in your shoe? And you didn't even notice.
Okay. Point. Each of the cards has a question. It has the actual answer. And I have asked our esteemed panel here to write 2 additional bluff answers. Each team is going to read their questions in turn to the opposing team. The opposing team will have 30 seconds to guess which answer is correct. So, to help keep track, I actually have a timer ready. So,
How loud is it?
no, I'm just going to watch it.
Aw,
Yeah.
lame.
So for this timer, Christy, why don't you go first? Why don't you read your question to the other team?
All right. So, what is the official name for a hashtag or pound sign? We have octotrope, novotrope, and decatrope.
Okay, timer has begun. The official name for a pound sign.
This is a picture of Claire trying to count. So octa, deca, or what was the other one? The N one?
Oh, novotrope.
Novothrope. So like 8, 10, or 9. I guess since it's got 9 squares, I'll say Novotrope. But like,
Time's up, team. What's your answer?
What she said.
So Claire, you going with
I guess, but
Novotrope?
Yeah. No, the answer is octotrope.
damn it.
Yep, it is called an octo because of the 8 pieces.
Dead giddly gummit.
All right, so, Claire, why don't you go ahead and read your question for the team?
Gotcha. So, in the film Pulp Fiction, all of the clocks are set to one particular time. What time is that? Is it noon? Is it 4:20? Is it 6:09?
So it's daytime.
Maybe.
Okay, so see.
Timer
Could be
running.
anyway. Could be any time. It's movie time.
All the clocks in Pulp Fiction are set to the same time,
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
and I have gone back and watched the film and gone, oh yeah, is it?
My original answer was like 4 o'clock, because I thought I remembered that, and 4:20 is the closest to it. But it might have been noon.
1 second.
Yeah, let's
Time's
go
up, team.
with 4:20. I think it's noon. Okay, I was
Which,
4:20.
well, which one were you saying?
4:20.
You were waffling.
There was a little bit of wiffle waffle.
4:20.
We'll give them that one.
Yes, all the clocks in the film Pulp Fiction are set to 4:20.
Yeah, so I remember the 4 o'clock. I was like, yeah.
All right, Tom,
Yeah.
read your question, please.
I can't, it upside down. You gave me an upside down card.
Oh, like the inverse spoon with soup?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, look, I fixed it.
Oh, cool, thank you.
There is no spoon.
All right, are you ready with this thing?
Yeah, no,
All
I'm
right,
ready.
I'm waiting on you. What is that thing at the end of your shoelaces called? A gret, agelet, or aglet?
The little thingy at the end of your shoelaces.
Yeah. A little plastic.
Yeah, a little plastic. Sometimes it's metal.
Interesting. I don't trust your instincts because Lord knows mine haven't been worth
Oh, we
anything.
already got an answer?
Aglet.
You're right.
It is, in fact, called an
Yes,
aglet.
it is.
See?
Very nice.
The pirate knows what's what.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it ruined the timer. I gotta start over. Okay.
Ah.
All right.
Oh,
Angel, please, the final question in the book round.
Which of the planets spins clockwise? Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, Venus, or Earth?
How many did you add?
You didn't
All of
tell me I
them.
had limits.
well, Pluto isn't a planet. It's a dog.
Heresy.
Technically.
Timer's going.
Okay.
Am I not a human because I'm smaller than other ones?
Yes.
Well, Randy Newman has some words to say about that.
Well, we don't know where he is. James Cameron's still trying to find him. Searching for the bomber.
Okay, you have too many answers. Can you just go through them one more time?
Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, Venus, Earth.
I will give you guys an extra 10 seconds
Thank
because
you.
somebody broke the rules.
Pirates.
So, thank you.
So I think it is Uranus.
No.
Venus.
Venus is the only planet that spins counter to the rest of the
That was my
planets.
second guess. We were talking and I was like,
Of course, it's Venus. So
She's the one difficult,
Yeah.
janky one.
Mm-hmm.
We stand a queen.
So, very good. You guys have stumped each other and also gotten correct from each other. So,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we got 2 right. They only got 1.
I did say Venus to him. I just
Yeah,
was
good.
like, it's,
We were
No,
just-
you got one right.
We're gonna, the judge is the one who is watching. The judge is off camera. We're trusting them and their judgment. So, that ends the bluff round, which
This
takes.
is the same judge
Oh,
that
yes.
us.
Oh, keep those points
Seaweed.
coming. Okay. So, we are moving on. Did you?
Did you see that tornado just flew through here?
Tornado Claire has come through.
I'm a hurricane, thank you.
You're a something. We'll give you that. All right, we are moving on to the third and final round. As is tradition, in the third round, the questions do get a little bit harder.
Uh-oh.
So, here we go. Hope you guys are ready. My first question for everyone. What does the moon smell like?
Cheese.
Green cheese.
Nope, it does not smell like cheese. We've actually been there. It's not, there's no cheese on the moon.
What can it smell like if you can't sniff it while
It
it's
doesn't
there?
have a smell.
right.
No, it does.
But when you bring it back
Like, does
here,
the moon dust get a
You guys want to
contaminated
join the
smell?
party or?
Well,
I didn't know if it would be with them or not. So,
What's this?
Where does one go to sniff moon dust? Like, how do we break it?
NASA.
Astronauts who have been to the moon and come back into the capsule have had moon dust. They've collected moon dust. They've had it on their suits,
Right.
and they say that it does have a particular
Lions.
smell.
Coffee.
Birthday cake.
Not coffee.
I would think chalky or something.
Chocolate.
Feet.
No, not chocolate. So you're in
Chocolate
chocolate feet.
So
Ch-
obviously on the moon, there's no gravity, so there's no ability to smell, but when you bring it in.
Once you're in the capsule
Right.
and your oxygen in the
saying-
atmosphere.
something-
How would gravity fix the smelling?
We're not gravity.
Atmosphere is the same thing.
Gravity's not involved.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah. Mhm.
Like you were saying
Yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
chalky.
Earth?
No, not like Earth.
More chalky.
Not quite chalky. So space is full of a whole bunch of different
Water?
things going
It
on.
is.
A lot of different.
Grass?
No, grass. It smells like chlorophyll.
Alien poop.
When there's lots of collisions in space and things collide, there's other gases involved.
Yeah.
There's other things involved.
It smells like farts.
Nitrogen?
You're getting closer. You're getting all of these different explosions happening in space.
Does it smell like
Sulfur.
smoke?
Sulfur.
You guys are almost there. You guys are really almost there.
It's got a burn smell to it.
Almost. So
Smells like bacon.
it actually
Charcoal.
smells like the moon itself. The moon dust smells like gunpowder.
Really?
Astronauts who have been on the surface of the moon and get back in the capsule, they had the moon dust on their boots and their uniforms, and they said that as the cops go by,
They're coming
because-
for you.
No, I answered all their questions. I said, get me a lawyer. They said that the moon dust, there is an actual quote from the astronauts on the moon. They said it feels like snow, smells like gunpowder, and doesn't taste too bad.
Eat the moon. Eat
I
the
would
moon.
actually question that because once you come back into the capsule, obviously you would have a chemical reaction with whatever oxygen or whatever is in the capsulated atmosphere.
That is a valid point.
That
Yeah.
Because
could create the burning smell because of what's going on.
we do know somebody who has protested the idea that space smells like steak, because they say once you get back in the capsule, you're smelling the uniform that's been out in space, not space itself. It is a valid point. I will give you credit for that. But on record, they have saying moon dust smells like gunpowder. The fact that it doesn't taste too bad,
Yeah.
No, just no.
we sent a bunch of boys to space.
Humans will put anything in our mouths.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
just
no, think
once.
about it. You
Not-
have, what is it, live charcoal that you'll drain, that you
Yeah.
take.
Activated charcoal.
Yeah, activated charcoal. So I could
Where's
see.
I can see this as a new mineral supplement that you would put on your salad.
Well,
Eat Elon Musk's new
I was-
venture.
I would like
Moon
one
dust.
moon salad, please.
Moon dressing. No, moon seasoning. There
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
Moon salt.
Well, I will give you guys bonus points if you know what is the scientific name of moon dust.
Itchy.
No, that's what happens to you if you get it on you. Scientific name of moon dust is regolith.
Reagan.
Regolith is actually hard to kind of make a marketing thing because
Yeah.
a regolith salad is hard to say and doesn't sound appetizing.
No, you just change it to megalith.
Well, if you do an arugula salad with your regolith on it, then you know you got
Yes.
something going.
A arugula.
You could have it in the megalith salad bar.
There we
Yeah, there we go.
go. I like.
Well, so let's
The dark
go.
side of the salad bar.
Yes.
So we had gunpowder, we had kind of explosions in space. Let's move from gunpowder over to fire. Fire's
Cool.
kind of fun. What fire has been burning since 1962?
Is that the one in the coal mine?
The Olympic
Olympic
torch.
torch.
Yeah, the one up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but like there's some coal mine. It's like
yeah,
on
This
fire
is
and
this
has
is
its-
fascinating to me because both of the outside, both of you guys are like the Olympic torch, and then you guys are like the mine fire.
Yeah.
The portal to hell.
Well, I mean, I could have gone, fantasy, and I was thinking Tolkien at the time, but
Yeah.
I figured that was probably out of the question.
Because some idiot was burning trash and lit the entire coal seam on fire and it hasn't quit burning.
That is exactly right. We are talking about Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
In 1962, there was a big landfill on the outskirts of town, and the town decided, hey, we have too much garbage, let's burn it. So they lit the landfill on fire. What they didn't realize, it was right on top of a seam from an anthracite coal mine.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So it went into the coal mine, the mine caught fire, and has been burning since then.
Mhm.
And best estimates from scientists are that it's projected to burn for another 250
Yeah.
years.
So is that where all the CO2 emissions for the United States is practically coming from?
No, I've been to DC.
No, that's coming from an ex-president's mouth.
So pictures of Centralia are kind of fascinating. You've got this town that's covered in this smoke, this fog, this constant haze.
Yeah.
Very Silent Hill.
Exactly. A lot of people say it was the inspiration for Silent Hill, for the town. If you guys are familiar with the video game, it's this town where you go into it, you get trapped, and it's constantly covered in fog. Part of the fog in the first game was because the computer couldn't have the draw distance, so to cover buildings popping in, they covered it in fog. But it became such an iconic image.
Yeah.
It's actually a place that you can't go there as a tourist, you can go up to the town.
Mhm.
The government did have to evacuate. There's currently, I think, 2 families still living there
Oh, wow.
that just refuse to leave. And they're like, the ground's gonna collapse, but they refuse to leave.
It's like our own little Chernobyl,
Yeah.
except smokier.
Wow, little Chernobyl. Now that would sell some t-shirts. But yeah, you can't really be a tourist at Centralia. I think that would be neat to go see, but you can't go there. But being a tourist is something interesting, and I learned a fun fact about being a tourist. What is the longest amount of time you can be a tourist?
Depends on the country and the laws regarding that.
We are going with the UN. The UN has an official
Ah.
statement on it.
6 months.
And like, what is the tier? Is it like tourist and then squatter, or
I
like, is that
stopped.
what the delineation is? Because that will affect my answer.
I stopped after tourist because I didn't feel like going through the UN website. Have you tried? Oh my God, it's terrible.
Sounds on brand.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of wordage in that.
Ugh. It's so dry. It's drier than the driest wine.
So you could use that entire thing in a drought spell, is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. So
I think it's towards just something like 4 weeks, like a month or so within. I'm not thinking about passport, but I'm thinking to be able to view a place and whatnot. I believe like 3 to 4 weeks or a month. Basically.
That was in 6 months. but-
I'll go crazy and say somewhere in the middle of that, like 6 weeks.
okay. So 6 weeks, 6 months, 4
About
weeks.
4, yeah, about a month.
Well,
Because
let's
I mean,
go.
6 months is it's like a visa usually for people who are going
Actually,
to
yeah.
to different
I'm
countries.
lowballing it.
But whether or not that's considered a tourist, unless it's a tourist visa, then
Well,
6 months is right.
You guys have talked yourself into the answer. The answer is 6 months.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
According to the UN, the official definition of a tourist is someone who stays in a country not their own for more than 24 hours, but less than 6 months. So the second you hit that 6 month, you are no longer a tourist.
Right.
So I can't be like a 3-hour tourist?
Well, you could be a 3-hour tourist.
Now, interesting fact on this.
Mhm,
If
yes.
you are well, this was, I'm not up to date on everything right now, by pre-pandemic and all. An American passport, so you can actually be in the United Kingdom for 6 months,
Mhm.
right? And then if it was expiring, you would either jaunt over to Ireland, not the Republic, but the Northern, or you would jaunt over to Europe. You'd have to stay there about 7 days, maybe a little less now, and then you could actually re-enter back into the UK with a full another 6 months to go.
Oh, so so you're just like resetting the game.
Yeah.
You have to reset the game.
Wait,
Like, but you
You're
do have
safe
to-
scumming in real life.
you do have to remain over like in Europe, and also another one is it's easier to get a work visa into your European Union country than it is into the United Kingdom. So if you ever wanted to try to get to the UK, the best route is to actually get a work visa within Europe, and then from there make your way.
So you heard it here. Just
That was,
get the visa.
well, a few years, a decade ago.
Let me
Yeah,
write that down.
I'm thinking I can stay 7 days in Belgium just trying chocolate.
Oh, or
Yeah,
just
did-
pop over to
No, Belgium, if you're
Amsterdam.
gonna go to Belgium, you're gonna do the different types of beers and lagers that they have.
Along with the
And
chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Well, you didn't say that at first, you just said chocolate.
Well, it's just,
I'm like, no, you have to do the,
the beers and the lagers
Children.
are just,
Children, you can have beer and chocolate later. We still have one more question to go through.
but Brussels
So
cheese.
much wine,
I've never
wine and
been to
cheese.
Brussels.
You can have your case of
I just
muffin
don't like
later as
Sprouts.
well. Okay, so we are down to our last question of the night.
It's raining.
Yes, it is raining, I know. That's not the question.
I found out the hard way. I think my shirt is finally dried.
Yeah,
thank
it's
goodness.
fine. So we're down to our last question of the night. The last question was about tourists, and there are a lot of different types of people that go on tour. A lot of different entertainers. And then you'll hear stories from the road.
Did you just hear about Blink-182? They're getting back together, the original band. They're going on an international tour. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, okay. You good? You better now?
For only 6 months?
Okay.
A whole
No,
year.
less than 6 months.
No, a whole year.
So, a lot of different bands and entertainers will go on tour. And one of the stories we often hear about is, damage from trashing hotel rooms. So my question for you guys is, during their US tour, what was the total amount of damage when Monty Python trashed their hotel room?
Oh, I remember that.
That depends how much of it was animated.
Only the part with Palin.
I think Gilliam would have animated a really interesting trashing.
Oh,
of
yes.
that book would just come down, the slowly pops up.
1.5 million. I'm just gonna throw something out
You're gonna say
there.
$1.5 million was the total amount of destruction.
That's an entire hotel. I'm here
That's a
for it.
lot of. These guys, do you want to join the conversation?
We are joining the conversation.
No, you're
just not
having
loudly.
a conversation.
Same thing. But remember, I was in sales.
I'm gonna separate you
And are we
two.
adjusting for inflation? Like, when was this?
This was. I actually did not write it down. I know, but we're gonna say it's pre-90s.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
probably pre-80s.
Yeah.
I'm just being safe.
Monty Python and the
'Cause
Flying Circus.
'cause I
Yeah,
forgot to
back
write
in the
down.
days.
It was
Yeah.
during one of their U.S. tours.
Right.
So what do you guys think the total amount of damage from their
Yeah, probably around 5-6 mil.
$5-6 million?
Oh yeah, I could see them.
And is
say
this one
1.5.
hotel room or all hotel rooms?
This is one hotel
This is
room.
one night. They did so. I think they had like holes in the wall. They really. They put Motley Crue to shame.
Yeah, it was pretty much a gut job on the room.
Yes.
Well, I think I know one of the worst ones was Billy Idol had to get tranked. They had to shoot him with a trank
Oh,
gun
remember
to
that?
get him out of the hotel.
Like a rhinoceros.
But we're going back to Monty Python.
Yeah.
So you guys have your answers locked in. Claire, what was your final?
I didn't have a pre-final.
You
Let's
didn't have
see.
a pre-final.
Oh, God. I'll say $100K in 80s dollars.
Ooh, 180K?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what the inflation. So, during their U.S. tour, Monty Python was asked to trash their hotel room for the publicity.
Uh-huh.
The total amount of damage was one toothbrush.
My
Really?
boys.
Yes, when they were asked, Michael Palin apparently got off the phone, went into the bathroom, and broke one toothbrush.
They gave them toothbrushes?
They had the nice hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Some nice hotel rooms will give you a toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Some will give you a bar.
Yeah, but you
Yeah, that's an expensive
you
bar.
pay so
You-
much for that bar.
And you sure pay for it.
It's not worth it.
Well, if you're on the company's dime, it's worth it.
Oh, yes.
Important distinction.
But I thought that was a fun fact to end the night on, that in true Monty Python style, they broke one toothbrush.
Here, here.
It's only a flesh wound.
I think you win just for that.
So, that actually...
Whose team are you on?
Everyone's. I love you all.
No, you actually have
What
to
side of the table are
You have to be on team.
this side.
be... You can't play both.
Focus. Stay
Well,
with me.
You don't tell me
Stay
what to
with
do. You're not my real
Stay
dad.
with me, Claire. Stay with me.
So, that is the last question of the night. That wraps up this round. Our judge is on the side tallying the points, and it looks like this week's winners are going to be, if the judge will decide, the judge is just taking his sweet time because he's eating all the craft services back there.
Of
Winners
course.
this week, once again, are Tom and Crispy.
Oh, foul.
So-
I think part of it's because you keep cheating with the bluff questions. But next week,
You
we
did
will
not
take
give
another
me
look
any
at that.
parameters.
You did last week, you just forgot them.
No,
So,
last week I
No,
intentionally wrote them.
children, we
You
just
got
say this
Pirate.
fight in the parking lot. 3 p.m. at the flagpole.
Pirate.
Whatever it is right now. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Don't touch the tome.
Bye.
We will see you guys next week on
Like us
Let Me
at the
Ask You
bottom.
This.